everyone, it's Delaney, Senior Inbound Marketing Specialist at Hivehouse Digital. Today, I'm going to go over how to customize record views in HubSpot. For this example, I'm going to be using a contact record, but this will also work for other record types like companies and deals. So I'm going to use myself as an example for this tutorial video. So what I'm first going to talk about is the property sidebar that is on the left side of a record. When you are on a record, you have this left sidebar and you have these buttons for notes, emails, calls, tasks, etc. But if you scroll down, you also have a bunch of different properties that you can view regarding your contact. So the defaults are like lifecycle stage, email, phone number, contact owner, but you can add a bunch of different things to this. Like, for example, you might want something like buying role. So what we're going to do is first click on this View All Properties button. Then you can see all of the available properties you have in your HubSpot account for contacts. Now, this is our test portal, so there's not a lot of information in here, but we're still going to use it as an example, and it'll demonstrate exactly how to do this. So now that we're here, we can just scroll down and find the different properties that we want to add. You can scroll down, or you could search for it at the top search bar. So, for example, let's say, scrolling down, we want to see the contact priority. You're going to hover over that property and you're going to click on Add to your view. Now, this is only going to modify your view in HubSpot. It will not modify everyone in HubSpot, the default view, which we'll go over in a second. But if we look, we can see that contact priority is now at the bottom. So you can see where these dots are on the left side. If you click on that and drag it, you can reorder the different properties. So let's say maybe we want it right about in the middle so we don't miss it. You can also delete properties. So for example, let's say you don't need last activity date. You can click on that and it will no longer be in your view. Now, for any properties that are default properties, so for example, email, you cannot remove it. As you can see here, it put a pop-up up saying that it's a portal default property and that you would have to change it under the default properties view. So we will get to that in a minute. But as far as adding the different properties to your sidebar, all you have to do is add them over here. You don't have to click a save button or anything. So if we go back and look on this contact record, we can see now that contact priority is in the middle where we placed it. Now, if we go back to view all properties, we can click the link that says set default properties if we want to manage those. And it opens up the editor. And if we click this arrow over here on the right side that says about this contact, we can see all of the default properties that are in HubSpot that will display on the contact record and the order that they will be in. Now, if you want to change this for the whole portal, so everyone has the default properties, you can go ahead and change that here. So let's say we want to add the priority. That should be up top. So we're going to add it in. And again, you can drag and drop it to where you want it so that it's available in everyone's view. You can, of course, also remove it. So let's say you don't need the buying role. We can X on that and it will no longer be part of the default view. So this is super, super helpful. You can also add different sections to break the different properties up. So if you wanted, maybe you have a section that's just about like sales info, you would probably word it better than that. But let's say you have certain sales properties that you want on the contact record, you could place them here and then look for the different things. So maybe you want annual revenue under that section, you can go and add that there, and whatever other properties make sense there. So once you're done modifying the default properties, you can go ahead and click Save, and that is now your default view. It just brought me to this screen, which is the record customization screen. And you can always reach this by clicking on the gear icon in the top and then scrolling down to your objects and then selecting your object of choice. So you can do this for contacts, but will also work for any other of the records. And then just click on the record customization tab at the top and you are back to where we were. So this customize the left sidebar link, that is what we just used. So if you aren't already on a contact record, but you want to update that, you can click on the customize the left sidebar, click on default view, and you can now modify these different sections. If we go back, we can see that there is customize the middle column, customize the right sidebar, and customize the contact association cards. So we're going to go through all of these, but let's start out with the customize the middle column one. So we're going to click on that link and click on default view. So this is going to be how you customize the middle section of a contact record, or if you're on deal or companies, of course, you can customize that as well. And the overview is meant to just give an overview of different things that make sense for you to have top of mind, where you can add different tabs to add different sections. So the activities is going to show a timeline for the activity of that contact, but you can add other things as well. But let's start out with the overview section. So these little sections right here, we've got data highlights, recent communications, companies, deals. These are called cards, and you can, of course, drag and drop them in the order you want them to be. Let's say you want to remove some of these. So maybe you don't need subscriptions and payments. Just simply click the remove button and it won't be on that main overview page anymore. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on add cards, and these are your existing cards that already exist. So you can click on create card and choose a new one. So you have different options: association tables, lists, data highlights, property lists, and report card. For this example, I'm going to do a data highlight, and that can show 4 featured properties. And for this example, I'm going to do it to highlight the customer's NPS score. So I'm going to call this NPS. You can do an internal name. And then you can choose your property. So I'm going to search for anything regarding NPS. So we're going to do the survey comment, rating, and date. And I'm just going to go through one by one and add those to the card. And of course, you can do up to 3 or up to 4, but this NPS, we only have 3 in this account. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'm going to click save. And that has now been added to our view, and we can drag it up top if that needs to be top of mind. Now, I also mentioned previously that you can add different tabs. So right now we have overview and activities, but we could create a new tab. And let's say we want to call this sales. Click on done, and then we can start adding cards. So maybe we want to add those deals, the subscriptions, and the payments to this. So it's more sales related and anything a salesperson would want to know. Once you're done customizing this, adding your tabs, adding your cards, you can go ahead and click save or save and exit. So I'm going to save and exit. And we have now successfully customized our default view for the middle column. Next, we have the customize the right sidebar. And so we're going to click on the link, click on default view. And this right now, the default is pretty much anything you can have in the sidebar. So really, if yours is like this, your options here are to remove things rather than add things. But you can also reorder things. So we've got companies and leads, deals. Maybe we want deals at the very top. If we're looking, maybe you don't use the LinkedIn Sales Navigator, so you can remove that. Maybe you don't have Salesforce anymore, so you can remove that. You don't need the sync on or the sync data. I think I'll leave that for now, but you can also, once you have those things removed, or if your default doesn't have those items already in the sidebar, you can come back here, click on add card, and you can add those options back to the default view. And when you're all done, you can go ahead and click save. And that is how you update that right sidebar. All right, so we have got one last thing to go over, and that is customizing the contact association card. So I'm going to click on that. And this is talking about how the associated contacts will appear on other records. So like your company record and your deal record, how will they show up on that sidebar that we just customized? So there's certain things you can't edit, like the name and also the job title, but you can add 2 extra properties. And the default right now is email and phone number. But let's say, you know what, I really want to have a different property. Maybe you don't really need the phone number displayed right away. You could say buying role. Maybe it's helpful to have that buying role at a first glance when you're on a company or deal record. So you can customize your 2 different properties, and once you're done, you can go ahead and click save. So now when we look back at our contact, we can see the changes we made. We can see the changes that are in the sidebar. We can see our NPS card is right up there at the top. We've got our sales tab that we created. And we can see that associated deals are in the right sidebar. Now, when I go to the company record of Hivehouse that the contact is associated with, we can also see now that buying role is showing up under the associated contact card. So you can see that data now. If it was filled out, you would see it here. And so you can see here how the customizations we made to that associated contact card will display on a company record or even a deal record. All right, so that is all we have for you today. I hope you learned something new, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on our next tech tip.